Tekken is a difficult game, but I still want to learn and play better. It would be amazing if there is someone who could show me the way, just like many famous streamers did recently. However, comparing myself and possibly you to some top streamer, you can clearly see that I have no clout, no money, and obviously no bitches. So naturally, thatDoubleT senpai would never notice me. And we will have to rely on the YouTube guy to help ourselves. For months, I have watched multiple YouTube guys and played the game myself to compile a list of things that I should work on to improve my game. And now, I want to share it with you. And hopefully, Cunningham's Law will help me perfect it. But in reality, I know it's gonna be more like a message to my future self kind of thing. I'm gonna show this to my nurse in the retirement home and said, I was a YouTuber once. So if you agree, disagree, or have questions on what I said, feel free to tell me about it. If you want to see me play or talk about other games, please subscribe to me. Now, let's begin. Tip number 1. Practicing movement. Movement in Tekken is the single most important thing that makes or breaks your game. The simplest way to explain this is that you have to utilize movement to move yourself away from danger and move in to apply pressure. And obviously, since this is a 3D game, sidestepping adds an additional layer to the movement game. And if you can get better with it, it gives you more ways to learn how to deal with your opponents. However, some of you, including me, might have seen Tekken Pros talks about how movement is nerfed, and you wonder what's the point of practicing it. My thought process is, if you don't have the basic, why complain about something that you don't understand? At least let me demonstrate some useful situation. At lower rank, most opponents like to do crazy moves that can lead to a combo. If you move away from Elisa and she doesn't know how to get in, she might do this. To counter this, you just sidestep and punish. But that doesn't really matter because Elisa player is just gonna get carried by chainsaw anyway. And if you are a Reina player, you can even use sidestep to punish people who mash on round start. I know that because I was the one mashing. In an even skill level game, if you can control the movement, you can control how the game goes. Which is why one of the most common guys you see on YouTube is about Kbd, Korean backdash, and wave dashing. I know that you don't really need them if you're just starting out, because if you can't do it consistently, it might be bad for your game. But if you're good at it, you might play like this Kazuya player and beat the living crap out of me. But it's still kind of fun to learn and use, so give it a try. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because there are already too many videos for it, but I would tell you that the best way for me to practice Kbd and wave dashing is that I like to imagine my opponent is my pregnant girlfriend and I have to get away as fast as I can before she can lock me down with the baby. After that, I want to approach and have my way with another woman before they can realize what kind of person I am and hopefully repeats the cycle. What I am showing is definitely not clean, or might not be a wave dash at all, but try to do as I say, not do as I do. Tip number 2. Neutral, punish, and combo. Within the huge move list of each characters in Tekken, there are certain moves that are way better to use than others. Which is why in character guides, you can always see the creator highlight certain moves as key moves and tells you to use them in neutral. But what is neutral game, you might ask? According to one Google search, neutral refers to the stage of a fight where neither player is blocking or getting hit by anything, and you are trying to figure out the best way to start or continue your game plan. I'm sure you can read the rest, right? For me, I always forgot 60% of the key moves, and 20% of them are not fully utilized because of my poor execution, like using instant while standing 1 as punish. What the hell is this bullshit? So what I did is that I made this list that I'm not actually using, just give you something to look at. What I actually did was think back on my gameplay and start doing the moves that I missed in training mode. trying to get my muscle memory going. It doesn't do well with my rank, but what can you do? As for punish, I had to tell you this. The single thing that I can react to instantly is a jump scare. The time I got better in whiff punish is when I kept playing and playing during my road to master. PhilDX has a video on how to make a drill to train exactly this. If you want to improve, you should definitely watch that and do exactly what he says. But for me, I don't like staying in training mode, so I will have to accept my consequence. And for combos, you might have seen a lot of combo videos. All of them use every single available moves and you don't know which one to start, or which one to remember. For me, I just remember the usual combo extender and combo enders, and pretty much ignore the rest. My brain size is pretty limited, so naturally I gotta stick with the simple one. And on the other hand, I'm sure you'll get a lot of chances through counter hits. But my problem is that I'm not reacting to the situation and did not do the optimal combos. But in training modes, I can do them like 90% of the time. So I guess this is another case of practice makes perfect. But I'm very content at being a casual fighting gamer. I will keep banging my head against the wall like I always do. Tip number 3. Be aware of your opponent. Up until now, I keep talking about what you can do. But during a game, you should pay more attention to what your opponent does. I'm not talking about how horror rank is putting you in a blender. I will talk about that later. I am talking about their habits. Are they spamming the same moves? Are they blocking mostly lows? The simple example would be asking, can they tech throws? If not, throw. This is different from a game player ruining my Tekken experience. It's about playing off your opponent's weaknesses. Find openings in their behavior and attack that as much as possible. In defense, I would love to try to do the same thing, but it ties to a lot of knowledge check. I'll just say that I'm still improving. For example, Raven has a back 2-2 1+2 that hits low, and a mid version back 2-3. Not a good move, but I always use it to get a feel of my opponent. But one time my opponent no parries my back 2-2 1+2, so I mixed in back 2-3 just trying to fold him off. But it keeps on hitting. So I do the obvious things and keep spamming back 2-3. Wish that player never ever tried to block once. One more thing. I know you won't, but never feel bad for your opponent. Quoting from Eric Cartman in The Parts of South, if your mother appears in front of them, they will have sex with your mom. Never give them any chance. Tip number 4. Try applying what you learn into a match. Just try your best. You can do it. I will keep banging my head against the wall like I always do. Tip number 5. Watch your replays. I know whenever I bring up watch replays to people, most of you refuse to do it. Or you might beg/pay for someone else to analyze it for you. So instead of replays, I suggest you watch YouTube. One Google search, Tekken 8 horror rank counter. Now you have the knowledge on how to counter the blender. But you need to actually apply them in matches. For that, do not queue into rank. You can't practice there. Instead, try some fighting in Discord, ask the horror rank player for a few sets. Start from there. If possible, ask for feedback and be prepared for harsh criticism. If you do want to watch your own replays, number 5.5. Actually watch your replays. Here's what I do. I always look out for my weaknesses, like what got me hit the most, did I miss certain punish, or was there a better one? And sadly, many more mistakes. If you want to know whether you have applied some skills into your gameplay, this is what you want to do. Once I noticed some problems, I would change up my game plan and work to adjust my playstyle. This is important for me because I spend most of my game time in rank, not training mode. Constantly going match after match is not good for improving. It is more effective for me if I start to break it up, give myself time for revision. Otherwise, it would just be me keep reinforcing what I've done wrong. Other than that, the replay system has some nice features that are quite helpful. If you want to relive horror rank splendor, you can do that too and maybe try better this time. But if you're poor and didn't buy the character DLC, watching replays against Eddie is kinda pointless. As a representative of poor people, this is what I did. Get an Xbox Game Pass and play Hi-Fi Rush or any other games. The price might be slightly higher in the US, but it is still a better value than just getting a character DLC at full price. Don't let Bandai Namco know that you are a sucker. Tip number 6. Change character. Yes, if I was ever done with what had happened to me, what effort I have to go through just to win a match, the mountains of high tier characters that I match up against, if I ever had enough of that, I have another low tier characters on standby, and I am not afraid to adjust. That character would be Dan Hibiki. The reason I chose him is because of his mix-up heavy game plan, and he requires a lot of skills. Fang Hibiki might be my savior in Tekken 8. With that, this is every single tips that helps me improve in Tekken 8. If you ever enjoyed the video, please consider like, subscribe, and also hit that bell. I'll be traveling to Japan, so stay tuned. But most importantly, have a great day.